From the outside, Neka's life looked perfect. A beautiful home in Abuja. 2 adorable children. A husband who worked at a multinational and posted cute family pictures on birthdays. They were couple goals on Instagram, the type of marriage that made other women sigh and single men take note. But inside those walls, the silence was louder than ever. Neka had stopped laughing, not because she didn't want to, but because she didn't remember how. Her once warm and chatty husband, Uche, barely looked her in the eye anymore. Conversations were reduced to one-word replies and awkward silence over dinner. They used to cuddle while watching The World. Now they sat like strangers watching different lives unfold on a screen while their own unraveled. At first, she blamed work stress. Then, maybe she had gained a little weight. Maybe she wasn't praying hard enough. Maybe it was the devil, or worse, another woman. She bought new lingerie. It sat in the drawer. She made his favorite meal. He said he wasn't hungry. She suggested counseling. He said he was fine and walked out of the room. Then came the breaking point. One rainy Tuesday, Neka found herself standing in the kitchen, staring at a sink full of dishes with tears rolling down her cheeks. Her 5-year-old daughter tugged at her wrapper and asked, "Mommy, why are you always sad?" That was it. That tiny voice pierced her soul more than any of her husband's cold shoulders ever could. Neka decided she couldn't live like this anymore. Either she would fight for her marriage like her life depended on it, or she would walk away, with her head high, her children in tow, and whatever dignity was left. But first, she needed answers. Not just advice from Instagram therapists or random Facebook aunties. Real answers. Deep ones. And that's how her journey began. Not with a priest or a counselor, but with a strange old woman from her village, who whispered one word that would change everything: ritual. When Neka boarded that bus to her hometown in Imo State, she wasn't looking for magic, she was looking for clarity. Her mother had told her stories about Mama Ibn, a woman both feared and respected in their village. They said she could read a man's heart like a book and had potions that could make a cheating husband cry and beg like a baby. Neka had always dismissed such tales, until now. Desperation changes your belief system real quick. When she arrived at the small, mud-walled house tucked behind the cassava farms, she hesitated. Her phone had no signal. Her city girl instinct screamed, "Turn back." But her broken heart whispered, "Stay." The woman who opened the door wasn't what she expected. Mama Ibon was tall, regal, with eyes that could freeze your soul. She didn't greet Neka with a smile. She simply said, "You have come. Sit down." No introductions. No small talk. Just straight to the heart of the matter. "You want to save your marriage," Mama Ibn said, as if reading a headline from Neka's thoughts. "But you don't know the spirit fighting you." Neka's eyebrows lifted. She was expecting palm oil rituals and maybe 1 or 2 chants. But this was different. Mama Ibn was talking about spiritual foundations, ancestral covenants, and the silent vows made on wedding nights that most people never understood. "There are things that bind a man and woman deeper than a ring," the old woman said. "Yours is bound, but loosely. And something is pulling it apart." Then came the instructions. 3 nights. 3 tasks. 1 ritual. And 1 warning: if you start, you must finish. No turning back. No skipping steps. If you stop halfway, the consequences will be worse than heartbreak. The first task seemed simple: cook him a meal without speaking a word. Just food? Nneka asked, skeptical. Mama Ibon looked her dead in the eye. Silence is a weapon too, my dear. And do everything with love without expectation or anger and be prayerful. With the ritual paper folded in her handbag and confusion dancing in her heart, Nneka returned to Abuja. She was about to step into a spiritual battleground she didn't fully understand. But if there was a chance, even a sliver, to get her husband back, she would walk that forbidden path. Even if it meant becoming a woman she no longer recognized. Nneka stood in the kitchen like a soldier preparing for battle. She had worn a simple wrapper, tied her hair up, and removed all makeup. Not because she wanted to look humble, but because Mama Ibon warned her, no adornment. Let your spirit speak, not your beauty. The instruction was clear: cook him a meal. Say nothing. Watch. Listen. She started with one of his favorite, jollof rice, the smoky patty kind, with goat meat so soft it fell off the bone. She added fried plantain, vegetable sauce, and a side of zobo chilled just the way he liked it. For the first time in months, she set the table. No TV. No phone. No children running around. Just her and the food. When Uche walked in, he paused. Something about the air felt different, like the house was holding its breath. He glanced at her, then at the table. You cooked? He asked, a bit surprised. Nneka didn't say a word. She simply nodded once and sat quietly in her chair, hands folded on her lap. She didn't beg him to eat. She didn't serve the food like a house girl. She just sat, still, watching him through the corner of her eye. Uche hesitated. Then slowly, he pulled out the chair and began to eat. First bite. Then another. Then another. There was something almost sacred about the moment. No noise. No complaints. No, where's the salt? Just the clinking of cutlery and the sound of a man slowly remembering what it meant to be fed with love. When he finished, he stood and mumbled, thanks. Then something shocking happened. He cleared his plate. It was a small gesture, but Nneka noticed. This was the same man who used to leave plates on the table like a king waiting for a servant. Tonight, he rinsed the dishes. With his own hands. He didn't say much else. No grand apology. No sudden affection. But as he walked into the room, Nneka saw it. The first crack in the wall. Not a collapse, just a crack. But it was enough. That night, she lay on her side of the bed and stared at the ceiling, her heart thudding in her chest. Something was shifting. Mama Ibon's ritual, it was working. But she also remembered the warning, night 2 will test your pain. Be ready. The battle had just begun. It wasn't what Nneka expected. There were no candles. No spiritual chants. No mysterious herbs or bowls of river water. Just a shift, a deep, determined shift inside her. The real ritual wasn't about smoke or spirits. It was about love in action. Nneka woke up early that Monday morning with a decision: she would stop fighting with her mouth and start fighting with her heart. So, she cooked Uche's favorite yam porridge, with dried fish and that little sprinkle of scent leaves he always liked. She arranged the table with cloth napkins and even added a bottle of malt beside his plate. The house smelled warm again. Lively. Inviting. She didn't nag. When Uche returned from work that evening, already prepared for tension, he opened the door and froze. The living room was clean. The air was sweet. And Nneka, was stunning. She wore a soft, flowing gown, the red one he once bought for her during their honeymoon in Calabar. Her hair was down. Her eyes, calm. Her smile, gentle. Before he could put down his laptop bag, she walked up to him, took it from his hand, and placed it gently on the side table. Then she said quietly, "Welcome, my husband." No sarcasm. No hidden sting. Just warmth. It disarmed him. He ate in silence, not because he was angry, but because something sacred was unfolding. The food felt different. The room felt different. And most of all, she felt different. Day after day, she continued the ritual. Listening more, saying less, serving softly, smiling even when it hurt. And on the fourth day, it happened. Uche walked into the house, saw her again in that gown, this time, barefoot in the kitchen, humming a tune. His heart clenched. Something cracked inside him. He didn't even take off his shoes. He walked straight to her and hugged her from behind, wrapping his arms around her waist like a boy begging for forgiveness. "I'm sorry, Nneka," he said, his voice thick. "For everything. For shutting you out. For taking you for granted. I didn't know how to fix it, but you did." Nneka turned around slowly. She didn't need to say anything. Her smile said it all, "Welcome home." And that night, they didn't talk about what was broken. They just held each other, and let their hearts begin the quiet, sacred work of healing. The ritual wasn't magic. It was intentional love, the kind that doesn't shout, doesn't blame, doesn't threaten. Just shows up every day, doing the work without needing applause. And that was how their marriage, once cold and cracking, began to heal. One small act of love at a time.